Hello and welcome to another episode of Coffee Chat. So, today is the 29th of August, and, well, I've noticed some humming in the mic, so if my audio sounds slightly different, it's because I'm messing with some audio settings in Filmora, more importantly, a D-Wind feature and a noise volume canceling whatever feature. So if I sound different, like I did in my anniversary or Final Fantasy XIV anniversary video, I apologize. But I want to try to eliminate that as much as possible. I am getting ready to shoot new background footage through Final Fantasy XIV as well. I redid the setup for everything, so what you see won't be the same for quote-unquote long. We'll see how long that takes. And also with this review, I'm doing something I haven't done yet for these shows or podcasts. I wrote a script, so if I sound a little more robotic than usual, it's because I'm reading off a Word document. So I do apologize for that, but I figured this way I could stay a little more focused and, stay focused and get more clear, concise thoughts out other than my usual rambling on. So with that, I'm going to get right into it. Here we go! Okay, Avatar 2. A long, uneventful film. Avatar 1 had at least the fact that it was a new IP going for it, despite being a new version of a military man falling in love with a native and leading a revolt that beats the evil invaders. To me, Disney Pocahontas comes to mind, of course, as it is the closest comparison, and a lot of other people have done it. But Avatar 2 really has nothing new to offer, other than what happened behind the camera. One of them being that the most of the underwater shots are done for real. Cast and crew were trained to hold their breath for a long period of time to film each shot. I do find that cool, but for a 3-hour movie, I would hope that something would have happened or something major would pull me back in for more. That wasn't the case, so let's get into it. The movie starts with Neytiri, Jake's now wife, singing and Jake narrating all stories have a beginning on the song bead or something like that. He then says that he has had 3 kids and that the dead Grace, who they saved her avatar, but why they did this is unknown. Somehow got pregnant and had a child. If you want to make a comparison, Jesus and the Virgin Mary comes to mind right away because that's instantly what I thought. So Jake and Neytiri take her in, so now they have 4 kids for a family. Yay! Cut to the humans that stayed behind since they were the good guys, the scientists who helped the Na'vi out. And there's a kid now. What? I get that humans there were there for a long time and would have some fun time. But to have a kid just randomly be there is dumb, in my opinion. The only reason they have for this is saying babies can't be in cryopods to make the journey back to Earth with. But it's a lame excuse, and just to have a random kid not to be a CGI blue person running around is lame. But my bigger question for this whole thing right now in the beginning is why don't the remaining humans have an avatar body? Like, if they're going to stay in Pandora, why remain in bodies you know are not compatible with the world? If the reason is that they all don't have avatars of their own, then can't they grow new bodies over the X amount of years that they've been there? Because the long-faced guy who was one of the main scientists in the first movie had his killed in the first movie in the final battle. But he has it back now. Wouldn't that mean that he had to grow it back? But that would also mean they would have to have the technology, the tubes, to grow and know how to transfer minds into the bodies. I don't know. I guess I am looking too much into it, but I feel like it is important to let us know this. And it might be a nitpick, but again, it's just one of those things like you've been here for, had to be at least 10, 13, 14 years now, considering the age of the kids. And you would think that if you're going to stay on the world of Pandora, you're going to want to have compatible bodies. Skipping these questions for now, though. But now, within the first, after the first, 5 minutes or so, now they say they drove the humans / the sky people off the world for good. For me, this should have been said first, right after the sing-song line, like, all stories start with a song and they end with one. X amount of years ago, I was here to help humanity ravage the moon of Pandora. However, I met someone who would change my life and see the beauty of it, and I became one of the people to help drive humanity off. Something like that. Being nice about this, since we all have to make sure that humanity is the pure evil forces of evil, of course, because that's just the way it is. But let's be real as well. Jake betrayed mankind for some alien love. Not only that, but forced them to accept him. Whatever. We can overlook that if we are making humanity the bad guys in all of this. Not saying that they aren't, but Jake should keep that in mind. Keep in mind that he came here to help humanity out first. God damn, I didn't even write my script right sometimes. Anyway, after all of that, he says something about saying date night is the only time that Jake and Teary get some alone time. And we get a good 30 seconds of them just flying around on whatever the Avatar flying birds are. And then it cuts to them just laying in a tree looking up at the sky. Pretty. But don't worry. The over-the-top evil humans come back. They come in supersized landing rockets, and as they are landing, the thrusters and fire burn about a mile of forest as they are coming down, plowing down trees, killing animals. You know, since James Cameron has to make humanity's over-the-top, mustache-twirling evildoers. Also, why can't they just go to a much bigger world? The moon, they have to know at this point, isn't exactly friendly to them. I will get back to that later, though. So for now, Jake has a renewed purpose to fight. Soldier Man is back! Yay! We like that. Cut to POV, where Quaritch is coming out of sleep. He sees a blue avatar and freaks out. A small scuffle happens, and after a minute, he calms down, seeing that the rest of his squad has been turned into avatars as well. So the bad guy from movie 1 is back with his squad, who we never met before. So I don't care about them, really. But how did he come back? Well, it seems before the final fight, he and his squad got their memories backed up. Ho-ho! I feel like this trope, if I'm using the term correctly, is becoming used too much. Plus, it is followed up by a video recording stating Reborn Quaritch's mission to hunt down and kill Jake. So now we are to have this unstoppable hunter who would do whatever it takes to kill Jake. And he has a squad of commandos with him. This could be a good story after all. Sadly, we know it is not. Cut to Jake and some of the forest people. Keep that term in mind for later on. Following a train. It's a new addition to the human forces, but it has no real protection, just a train on some rails, no gunners, no caltraps, not even a hover feature. Because once the rail gets blown up, it crashes. And the two flying vertibirds, or whatever you want to call them, are shot down. That's it. Nothing. Like, why, if you know you're going to be attacked, has something to defend the train and or cargo? Guess it would be too much money? Fine, whatever. Moving on. The forest people take the weapons and ammo while Jake's two sons, on Jake's orders most likely stay in the air. The younger of the two disobeys Daddy and goes down and gets a gun. Jake sees them and gets mad. Of course, they get ambushed since they have no air scouts now, and the older brother gets hurt. Oh no! This changes everything. You know, Jake has only been leading the rebels for, I think the movie said, about a year now, and putting his family / clan at risk every day, but now that his son has gotten a cut. Oh no! Jake now sees he has to do something with his family to keep them safe. What? Why now? Why not just tell them to stay, that they cannot fight? Oh, wait. That would look bad towards the whole Force clan, since most males of the clan would be fighting as soon as they are of age. And the chief says his own kids won't be fighting, or couldn't fight, because they would get hurt. No more support, and he would be gone. So anyway, the Jake and everyone else flies away, and they go back home. And he has a talk with Neytiri about how he's almost lost their son. Boo-hoo. So this is also right around where we learn that Kitty, the Jesus baby, still doesn't know her dad, and Spider, the human kid, doesn't want to remember his dad. Quaritch. No. Who's the mother? Who cares? Spider only thinks about his dad, and Kitty only wants to know who her dad is. Is it important to the story? Not really. But the fact that you basically make her female Jesus later makes the virgin birth thing annoying. I mean, I guess it would be funny if her dad was Quaritch as well. But that would later ruin her Jesus powers, in my opinion. Though I think what happened was when Grace was plugged into the spirit tree, aka Eywa, the goddess of Pandora, Eywa, quote unquote, impregnated her to have Grace reborn, so to speak. That's just my theory. But it would be kind of weird because later, I'll share this point in the review as well, but later when she connects to another spirit tree thing, she sees Grace, and Grace is like, how are you, baby, and stuff like that. So it'd be kind of weird to, have Grace be reborn talking to old Grace kind of thing. I also want to state, because I don't remember if I put in my script at a certain point, Kitty has powers over Pandora. Like, she can hear it, she can feel the heartbeat of it, she can control certain things. So I want to put that out there in case I did forget to put it in the script and I talk about it later and you guys just go, what the hell are you talking about? So yeah, I want to make sure that I do say she has some abilities to control some aspects of the world. Not like terraform it anything like that, but yeah. Okay. A cut later. We're going to Quaritch again, and he's giving his Pandora's rules speech to the new commando unit, who already know about the rules because, he's given it to his own group before, I'm sure. He also states that they have the enemy bodies, therefore their strengths. Again, this could have been cool if done correctly. Hell, he even said in movie 1 that the idea of a soldier in an avatar body was a scary thought. This unit could have been a real threat. I mean, the commandos. You would think commando, the way Hollywood portrays them, would be these unstoppable, badass
people, and now they have their enemy bodies with their strengths, their like resistance and stuff. Like that would be cool. But we'll get to that. So now the commando unit goes meets the general of the being built human city. So I'm guessing it's gonna be more military run than business run. And she's showing off her quote unquote fighting skills in a mech suit that's the same height as a Na'vi. But the fighting skills is very basic stuff. Anyone can do it. A couple of jabs and then a few kicks. So it's not like they were showing off she's a military combat expert, in my opinion. I feel like whenever they meet her, she's going to go down in a fiery ball of flame. But this is also where we learn the story of the reason... Yeah, the story. We learn the reason why humanity has come back to Pandora. It is so dumb to me that I cannot take it seriously. The reason humanity is back in Pandora. Quote, Earth is dying. Pandora is going to be our new home. Fucking what? Seriously, Pandora, the moon that hates you. 90% of the animals are at least twice your size, and these are the small ones, and will tear you apart without a second thought. The air is so hostile that you have to wear a mask to breathe outside and pray to God that nothing happens to that mask. Not only that, but the Na'vi people hate the humans so much they will kill anyone who isn't with them, no question whatsoever. Right, Pandora will be the new home of humans, and not some other world. It has to be Pandora. This is also where we learn, yet again, what Korish is here to do. Hunt down and kill Jake. So it's time to go on the hunt. Woohoo! At the same time, the second son, Kitty, Spider, and Baby Girl, and I'll be honest, I forgot all of the kids' names minus Kitty and Spider. They are wandering around, and where they know they shouldn't be wandering around at. I called that they would be caught by the commandos, and what do you know? They are! Shocker. James Cameron has made a film so predictable, it hurt so much. Anyway, before being caught, the second son calls to Jake and tells him that they are by the trailer where the final fight took place from the first movie. Apparently this is meant to be off limits for some reason. There's nothing to hide there. Why keep it forbidden? Anywho, after a few hours, Jake and Neytiri arrive at the trailer area, and the unit of about 6 or 7 commandos can't score a hit on either one of them. Oh, also, Avatar Dad recalls Spider and thought he was being shipped back. This is meant to start the father-son connection arc between the two, which could have been cool if it worked out. And 2, Spider learns what happened to his dad and sees his avatar's dad destroy the skull of his biological father, of the actual Korish. Anyway, the Na'vi kids, the actual Sully clan, is saved by Jake and Neytiri, but Spider is captured. Again, not really a shock, especially once Korish came back and knew who he was. I mean, if you didn't see him getting captured or being brought back to the human camp, then you've never seen a movie before. Yeah, I know, broad statement, but whatever. However, this is the final nail in the coffin for Jake. He is now forcing his family to leave. Yeah. He's going to leave the clan and take his family to, quote-unquote, protect them all. But he has no idea if this will actually help. The clan is hidden. no one knows where they are and has been hitting for about a year. Just because Quaritch is there, that doesn't mean that the humans will find them any better. Just because there is a commando unit now, they don't do a smart thing. Really simple thing to help find Jake, like not wearing camouflage and pretending to be hurt. Letting them be captured, quote unquote, and have a tracker on them. That would be something to worry about, but every time we see the commandos, they're in camouflage and they're not being smart. Maybe these ideas went through Jake's mind while making his choice, but we are not privy to that to make this possibility. So, he's just doing the whole my family got hurt, I have to leave bullshit thing. But before the Sullys can leave, they go through a silly ceremony where Jake, quote unquote, dies. Because apparently the old chief must die before a new one is allowed to take over. Sure, why not? Or they could have done a Jake is dead, I killed him for putting us in danger bullshit, but whatever. Make the clan more native and the like. Doesn't hurt. So Neytiri's brother from the first one is now the clan leader. The family fly off on whatever the flying creatures are called, like 2 minivans back to the brim with stuff, and like a minute or two of sweeping CGI world shots. I thought the shots looked really cool. I mean, the overarching shots, the world shots of most movies like that, I do really appreciate and love how they look. As the Sully clan go to the ocean and meet up with a clan of reef people. Yes, reef people. I also love the place they end up going to. Reminds me of Killicup Port from Final Fantasy X. Literally, when they showed it, I was like, holy shit, that's just like Final Fantasy X. Woohoo! Anywho, the reef people, they are thicker, have more fin-like tails, and hands that are like paddles. Obviously, because they're by water, and they need to be able to adapt to water. But no gills. For people who live by, literally and metaphorically, the water, you would think they would have gills to breathe since they are water people. But whatever. As they are being examined by the chief's wife to be allowed to stay, the second son sees a girl he is drawn to right away, like instantly. As soon as he looks over at a group of people, he sees the girl, the camera is there, and I said to myself, wow, good hint there, James. We know what's going on. And what do you know? She is the chief's daughter, and she has a brother. I can't imagine this is going to work out. The only thing I got wrong about this relationship possibility was she was promised to someone else, because that trope is used so much. Like, Avatar The Last Airbender did it. Like, every other action movie where the main hero needs or sees her and she's like, oh, I'm already promised to the guy who wants to kill you, so it's not going to work out. Only if something would... Anyway. So, with the promise that they will not be a burden upon the people and will learn to be useful, they can stay. Now most of the movie is them fitting in. Yay. A short montage of them learning to swim, hold their breath, and ride some oversized fish takes place. So exciting, isn't it? Yes! Now we cut back to the human city. Spider is being tortured by some sort of mind probe, which is just a spinning thing with a green light. I guess it can be explained as some sort of sci-fi thing. Cool! Quaritch stops it since Spider seems to be mentally strong enough to resist the light. Tells the general that he might be able to make Spider help, and she reminds him that Spider isn't his son. Again, this could have been a great moment for Quaritch to begin to doubt things. I mean, this is not really Quaritch, an empty shell with the memories of a dead man. This could start the Navi Chorus to become his own person, but isn't meant to be. Instead, he starts to play dad and convinces Spider to help out to find Jake. Cut to more learning about the Reef people and the ways and what they're supposed to do. And once again, we cut to Quaritch telling to Spider that there's a tracker in his mask, which isn't used at all in this movie. And they make Spider the official Navi translator, since apparently the way they speak isn't good enough. But this is also the point where the commando unit decide to go native to try to be more Navi to try to find Jake. Which, sure, could have been cool. However, it doesn't go, if you don't see a pattern now. However, it doesn't go any further past them getting the flying creatures. Again, this could have been a cool setup for a spy-like mission. But once again, it goes nowhere. Why, James? More pointless moments with the Reef people. Well, I guess maybe the only thing that happened that was not pointless was the second son got into a fight with the chief's son and was forced to make up. You know, the good old cliche as that is, or trope as that is. But I guess you can't guess where this one's going. Can you? Can you? The chief's son makes a second son come with him to a forbidden spot to hunt whatever fish they eat. The second son denies going at first because it's forbidden. The chief's son taunts him by saying something about having the wrong son with them. So the second son says he is the right son to go, and he goes with them. Can you guess where this is going yet? And of course, once they get there and are in position where the second son cannot see the chief's son, the chief's son calls him a moron and leaves Sully's son. Oh no! Who couldn't see this happening? Like, the whole movie relies on tropes that have become outdated like 30 years ago. Well, after this chief's son leaves, second son almost gets killed by a big fish. No, but guess what? If you say he gets killed because the place has no cover and he needs air, you'll be wrong! As Qui-Gon Jinn would say, there's always a bigger fish. That's right, a random fish comes out of nowhere and saves the kid's life. It didn't even eat the other fish. It just crushed it on a rock formation. Yay. Well, the other fish, more of a whale, which I will be calling it a whale from now on, and the second son become friends. The whale has a hook in it that the second son is removed and many battle scars. I thought it was some sort of special whale, and in a way, I was right, just not the way I was thinking. So after a dragged out scene, the second son goes back to the Reef people, and the chief's son is getting blamed for what happened, but the second son literally defends the chief's son. Why? I guess that's one way to make up with the kid, but he almost got you killed over a fight. Also, this whole movie, Jake is very hard on the second son, not believing on anything. Not saying he cares about him and is always yelling at him. Guess it's some weird Hollywood thing for some reason that the second child, namely the second son in this case, is always the one who's the outcast or the loose cannon. As if the firstborn is always the best, the one who will lead the future, and the third is just there to help, given more attention than the second. The second is almost scorned, hated, and must be just like the first or just vanish. I don't get it, but I've seen it so much. It's just like every other trope in this movie. The next day, the second son explains to the chief about the whale that saved him, but the chief says the whale is evil. Apparently, it killed its pods. I'm assuming that's what the group of whales is called, or something like that, and is now branded as an outcast and must be avoided. Wow, who else does that sound like? So, between this and the more pointless scenes that only add to runtime, Kitty is shown the Reef's People Spirit Tree. This is where the Na'vi come to speak to Eywa and see the dead. I guess once a dead Na'vi is returned to the Earth, or Pandora in this case, their memories are stored like a file on a hard drive. Whatever, that isn't important. When Kitty enters the tree and sees Grace, she asks who her dad is, and since Grace didn't know, she does this weird inhaling sound, like does that sound, and Kitty shuts down the tree and goes into shock. This prompts the long-faced guy and some other dude from the first movie, I don't remember, to come and check on Kitty. And they use one of those helicopter, copper, bird, whatever. They use technology to try to figure everything out. And the chief's wife comes in and says that she isn't needed because she is the healer of the Reef People. But of course, conflict of interest with technology and all that. Neytiri says she is the healer and kicks out the humans. Like, yells at them, and wouldn't be surprised if there was a scene where she actually kicks them. As the healer is doing her thing, Jake is told that Kitty has damaged the frontal lobe of her brain. She can't ever use the tree again. Okay, or you could just tell her not to ask who her dad is. There you go. So, I thought that she might not be able to use her superpowers of controlling the world anymore because she lost her connection to Eywa. Of course, now she is depressed. Boo-hoo. At some point, we are shown that the whale isn't alone in the world, that there is more pods of them. So, he's not, that was the only thing I got wrong about the whale, is that he wasn't unique or anything like that. I mean, like a last of his kind. But this pod that comes to the Reef People's village is, they're all bonded with certain Reef People. This makes them family, brothers and sisters. Cool, I guess. But this is only made to make us mad later for a particular scene. So the second son sees his crush talking to her own whale and decides to go to the outcast whale. He asks what made the whale an outcast. The whale allows him to bond, and through that, we see that the whale was attacked by the humans before. Its mate or mother, I don't remember which one it was killed. The whale then led an attack on the humans with its own pod and some of the other Reef People clans, and guess was the only one that survived the attack. Guess this made him look bad to everyone else since everyone died but him? Sure, why not? Back at the human base, the ship that the two human allies took to reach the Reef People was tracked. Well, not directly to the village itself, it was close enough to the group of islands where the Reef People's village is. I guess there are many villages within the Isles. Who knew? We didn't. So now Quarsh has a target after kind of giving up on finding Jake through the forest. Which, I mean, I guess helps. So this is where we are meant to learn how the humans fish, or take up the fish trade. Quarsh takes over a fishing rig and makes them follow on his hunt. The captain gets mad since he has quotas, and Quarsh says, "I'll ask nice once. Next time I won't." It's normally cold line, but in this movie, it just falls flat. Especially since the captain just kind of smiles and goes, okay. So Quarsh is now in charge and figures he knows how to make Jake come out. And of course, this methodology is just to raid a random village and ask if he's there. Of course, he's not. Once they don't give him the answer he wants, he burns the village. Of course. It also makes Spider questions his choice to join Course, since they had a few scenes about becoming closer. Again, this could have been a cool idea. Maybe Course questions his mission since he is now Na'vi, or maybe or maybe Spider sees a darker side of the Na'vi and thinks the humans might be okay. Anyway, now we are shown how the humans hunt the whales, because obviously burning villages isn't doing jack shit. And Quarsh asks, well, what else can we do? And the captain mentions about the whales, and Quarsh goes, okay. Anyway, we are shown how the humans hunt the whales now. Oh no, what will this mean? What pod will be hit? Did you guess it? That's right. It's the pod we just met in the village. Out of all the pods to hit, it just happened to be the right one. The way they hunt is okay, very methodical. And don't forget, crab pods. Yes! I love those things. Sarcasm. But basically, how they hunt. They separate one from the pod with depth charges, confuse the whale with sonic blasts, since they use echolocation to swim and find everything. Then they use an explosive-tipped harpoon in the gut that will destroy the internal organs. The reason that it is the gut that they have to hit is because the top of the whale is armored. Keep this in mind. Anyway, the whale dies, and it was a mother, which we knew before the death, because it had a little calf with them. Now the mining begins. Think kind of a Pacific Rim. They have to enter the mouth of the whale because the skull is too thick and too hard to penetrate anywhere else. It turns out that the whales are not only intelligent, if not smarter than humans, because they have more neurons. I'm not sure how that works. But they have some sort of anti-aging goo in their brains. And now this stuff is found in everything. Yes, it's like, I don't know, tablespoon of anti-aging goo is funding the entire planet terraforming. I guess they stopped mining for unobtainium because they couldn't attain it. Puns! Anyway, when they're done mining the goo, they just dump the rest of the whale. They have no need for any other part. Nothing. No waterproof coats, boots. No need for a few months' worth of meat or oils for lanterns. Just waste what must be hundreds of thousands of dollars of equipment and paychecks just for a small amount of stuff that will become pointless in the next movie. Just more humans are just evil shit. Yay. Cool. There's only one guy there that seems to care, but he doesn't do anything to protest or stop it. He just seems sad. I mean, even the scientists who end up staying on Pandora fought back in the first movie. And they keep fighting. This guy's just sad. Boo-hoo. Ugh. The next scene literally cuts to the reef people we know finding the body of the whale and the calf. And now the clan is sad. Looks like the baby whale died as well. I don't know how or why, though. I guess it can imply that it was killed by the commandos for more anger. Okay. So now the whole clan wants to fight back, even though they know that they knew of the hunting before, but now that it was the whales they knew were attacked, now it's personal. And they kind of have the actors trying to do the haka without doing the haka. That was personal. Jake keeps being a slight coward and trying to prevent the people from fighting because his family's here. Side rant. Why do they make Jake such a coward? I get he wants to keep his family safe, but he is/was a soldier. He should be prepared to fight no matter what. Hell, he was willing to lead a rebellion in the beginning of the movie. Holy shit. But because one of your kids got a cut, he has to become a coward? He also knows Korish is burning other villages to find him. Jake, you are a soldier. You know the humans because you are one. You could take him down and end the fight before it really begins. I mean, like I said before, he forced the final battle in the first movie. He wasn't one just to let things happen once he fell in love with Tiri. This Jake, I don't like him. Rant over. But I think it was important because, once more, Jake stops the Reef people from going to a fight. He holds up a tracker that was in the whale and says any whale tagged by this is basically dead. They will need Jake to disarm it. And this makes the war cry stop. Then the second son leaves, again disobeying everyone's orders to warn Outcast Whale, and guess what? That's right! It is tagged for death! Who didn't see that coming? So now all the Sully kids and the chief's daughter come to help. Since they can't get the tracker out, they call for Jake. I forgot to mention earlier that this entire time, Jake and the older son have communication devices around their throats so they can talk to each other anytime they need to. Now Jake warns the village, and now they all go to war. Like, maybe 10 minutes have passed. Since time is an issue, this could have been a week later, a minute later. We don't know. Back to the kids. They do end up getting the tracker off, and whale leaves for now. But now the hunters are going after the kids because they're still holding on to the tracker. I said to myself that Kitty was going to use her superpowers at some point in the fight to save them, but for like 5 minutes, the crab subs chase the kids around in seaweed. It wasn't exciting or thrilling. Like, I figured a couple of them would be caught and the others would get away. Well, 3 of them are caught. Second son, little girl, and the chief's daughter. And now for like 10 minutes we step away from the others to have a fight. The clan shows up and Korish makes an offer. Jake for the kids. Oh, and also Spider shows up, and none of the Na'vi kids think that he might have betrayed them. Just, you okay, bro? And Spider is taken away again. So, back to Jake giving himself up. Woohoo! He tells the Reef people not to attack since the kids would be harmed. Okay, that's true. But he says nothing about once they are freed. What? Like, just say something like, once I am taken and the kids are in the water, attack. Don't worry about me. Just take them out. But no. Just tells them to stay back. Again. Soldier. Well, the whale sees the second son is in trouble and gets mad, recalling what happened before. As Jake slowly goes to the hunter boat, the whale does a free willy and slams right on the boat. Now, this is something I like about the movie. They showed the whale was attacked before, they say they are smart, and it finally has a payoff. I think this is the only one in the entire movie. It was cool to see the whale fight, remembering how the humans fought before. Even at one point, the captain of the hunters shoots the harpoon, and the whale drops his head, and the harpoon bounces off. I did like that bit in the fight. However, I will say this fight takes up at least an hour of the movie. At least 1 hour out of the 3. It is long and doesn't feel like anything changes. I know one major thing changes, but other than that, nothing really happened that rocked the Avatar world like the first movie. It's just one boat is destroyed and some humans are killed. Not like before. But once the whale's on the boat, attacking the humans, Spider destroys the speed control, making the main boat crash. The full power, no power, half power stick. The reef people begin to attack the smaller boats, and the captain in a separate boat tries to kill the whale. The three kids escape their binds, and now we go to the other kids that are still running away underwater. Kitty uses her superpowers, yay, and stops the crab subs and kills the humans. Yay, her superpowers were used just as predicted! Who didn't see this coming? The fight goes on, and the captain is now dead set on getting the whale. Once a third harpoon is fired, the whale dodges it, but now he uses the wire to make the boat go into a rock formation, making it useless. Now the whale uses the wire cable and wraps it around the control room. I'm not sure what it's called where the whale is, the wheelhouse, and the whale starts to drag it. The good human sees this and yells for everyone to duck. The cable rips the wheelhouse in half, and the captain has his arm caught on the harpoon launcher, crushed and ripped off. And he's thrown into the water. Yay! Revenge! But since this is James Cameron, I have a feeling the captain lived. All we see is that he goes into the water without an arm. I honestly wouldn't be shocked if he returned to the next movie somehow. But now the whale's done. Doesn't show up for the rest of the fight. Now the main boat's sinking. The humans are leaving it. But funny enough, the kids are still on the boat, trying to get away because they couldn't or wouldn't jump off the side. They want to get Spider, since I guess he can't get himself off. The oldest son is now also on board, and take a guess on what's going to happen. Yes, they all get Sparted. The younger kids get out and with no issue, while the older one shoots at the humans with a distraction with a gun to help them get away. Then when he dives into water, he is shot! They try to hide it, but you hear the grunt and see him jerk a bit. Oh, no. Who didn't see this coming? But guess what? Kitty and the little girl are captured again. Again! So as the oldest son is dying on a rock, Quarsh once again says for Jake to come to him to free his kids. If James Cameron really wanted to make the humans even more cartoony evil, would just kill the kids. But no, he just stands there like a lemon. The oldest son dies. This is really the biggest change in the entire movie, but again, doesn't rock the Avatar world, in my opinion. But Jake and Neytiri leave while telling the second son to stay where he was. And of course, he doesn't listen. Again. After a minute or two, he tells the chief's daughter to wait, and he leaves. See a little bit after that. A fight breaks out on the boat, with Neytiri killing all the commandos in a very fierce, uncontrolled manner. And Spider sees this, kind of freaked out, while Jake is making his way to the two captured girls. He frees his little girl, and Kitty is held hostage until Neytiri shows up with Spider and threatens him. Now we see Quarsh is slightly conflicted. He says, fine, kill him, he's not my son. And then Neytiri cuts Spider on the chest. Then he's all, no, don't kill him. And he gives up. Not upset, not angry. But that could have been used. That could have been more effective had we had more development. So as the Sully clan begins to leave, Quarsh threatens Jake again, to keep hunting them, that he will complete his mission, and Spider is leaving with the Sully clans. Apparently not afraid of Neytiri at all, because she lets him go, and he's just like, okay, I'll go. And then Jake finally says, then it's time we finish this, and tackles Quaritch, once again beginning the fight for like the 5th time. So with the boat still sinking, there's oil in the water that catches fire. And guess what? Everyone is trapped! Yay! This prevents them from leaving, obviously. And I'll be honest, at this point I kind of turned my head around just to see what was on my computer screen. And suddenly Neytiri and the little girl are pulled inside the ship, but Kitty and Spider are not. I guess they were too close to a door that they got sucked into. Okay. So Second Son and shows up. So Second Son shows up, and at some point the 3 break up into different groups. Kitty begins using her powers and gathers fish. Jake and Quaritch are still fighting, but end up inside the ship. And of course, Jake beats Quaritch by choking him out and dropping his body into the water. However, he is now lost inside the ship, but the Second Son finds him. Kitty sends fish that glow to Neytiri's place, while Second Son teaches Jake how to breathe longer underwater. And Spider finds Quaritch. Yay! Cool. And instead of just letting the bad guy die, he saves him. I mean, this could have been more impactful if we had more of them bonding during the movie. But we got like 4 10-second scenes. This moment just felt more like showing Spider was a good guy for saving the bad guy. Whatever. After coming to, Quaritch tries to have Spider go with him, but Spider hisses at him and leaves. Yep. He hisses like a cat. The Sully family gather by the dead son and hug it out. Spider later joins them. One note about the battle. Once the captain of the hunters die, the Reef people just leave. Like, they're not there at all for more than a couple of fighting shots. Like, it could have been more interesting to see the Reef people surround Quaritch and his commandos instead of just being, like, Neytiri the only one killing them. Like, have the commandos see how much they messed up with messing with the Reef people. Whatever. There's so many missed opportunities. Coming to the last part of the movie, the oldest son is dropped into the reef and is taken into the memory of the world, or Eywa. Jake and Neytiri visit the spirit tree and they have a memory of Jake teaching him how to fish. The thing I thought was odd was Jake was about to cry and the son asked if he was okay. Does that mean the son doesn't know he's dead? Like, that would be okay, but he knew he was dying, so he should know he's dead. Whatever. It's the end of the movie, and Jake vows to stay with the Reef people to fight. However, we know the next movie will deal with Twins of Fire, so Fire Clan. That's it. Movie's done. I cannot recommend this movie at all. It is 3 hours of wasted potential. You've heard many ideas I've had. Whether or not they would make this a better movie, it's up to you. One thing I would have done is make the first half of the movie about the Sully clan exploring the world. In this case, the Reef people, since Jake wants to know more about Pandora. Then bring in the humans. Quaritch could have been shown in a prequel, so we know he's back. I'll make this a family film, meaning that the Sully family learn together. We see them grow up and maybe understand Kitty's powers more. Like, if she is if she's to be this Na'vi Jesus, then I think we need to understand her a bit more. We don't need to know everything about her right now, but if you explain everything over the next few movies, it will be broken and people will forget things. Tell us now and be done with it. Maybe add something here and there, but just tell us her powers. Then with Spider and Quaritch, again, this could have been a good father-son bonding movie. Like, once Spider is captured, we could have seen more parts of those two getting to know more about each other. Spider helping Quaritch understand the Na'vi, and Quaritch helps Spider to understand his own past. Maybe, again, we could have had Spider have to make a choice between Na'vi and human. Also, this movie doesn't need to be 3 hours long. The longer you go, the more pointless stuff goes on, and this movie feels like it's filled to the brim with pointless things. Like, this movie could have been so much more. Didn't have to be filled with action and fighting, but all the tropes, all the predictable events, and the lack of development just makes this a poor movie. So for the characters themselves, Jake was made into a coward, as stated before. He has no real spine nor brain to face the humans anymore. It's just keep my family safe, but only after they get hurt. Neytiri is now super annoyed at Jake all the time and is a bit pissy at the world. Only a few times is she sad, but the rest is just angry almost. The kids, it's too many to keep good track of what they are doing and learning. One thing that annoyed me, though, was the whole movie, they talk like they were from the city. Just bro and cuz and other sign that no Na'vi kid would be saying. It'd be fine if there was a lot of human kids who watched old videos from Earth and picked it up, but none of the adults would talk like that either. So where did the kids learn to talk like that? Spider was decent. No real complaints on him. But Quaritch was definitely the best part of the movie. While he's a little neutered from movie 1, he is basically the same guy. Only wish we had more time in the movie to maybe develop more into his Na'vi body, and maybe he could become conflicted in a way. I also hoped, as said before, that he and Spider could have become closer and begin a father-son relationship. The CGI. I will say I liked it since the movie was basically all CGI, with a few practical parts. For the most part, CGI was good. However, when it comes to the night/fire and the Na'vi, it looks bad. What I mean is when when there's night and there's fire on the Na'vi faces themselves, not the Na'vi individually. Like, first shot shows how bad it is. And then the final battle, there are so many shots that look so bad. Otherwise, still good. The world looks like it could be real. The score. Forgettable, which is sad since the first movie was so good. Granted, I know they had to get a new composer since the original guy passed away, but it didn't match the same feelings I had for the first movie. Sound effects were good, one of them made me think, well, that was odd. Final thoughts, just skip this movie. Skip the rest of the films, because if this is the best James Cameron has, I can only weep for the next 4 films. Thank you for listening, and I'll talk to you later. See ya.